cold open?
Sure.
I brought a Ouija board.
No, you didn't. No, we're supposed to talk about not so much spirituality, but like the supernatural, I guess. Like our stance on ghosts. Is that where you want to start?
I've picked up a couple of habits, and just because I'm bored, like I work, I'm busy, but I'm bored as hell, you know.
Yeah.
So when I'm going to sleep, I'll put on like scary ghost videos. Like,
Just for the thrill of it.
No, just because at that time is more scary, you know. Because if I watch them during the day, I'm just like talking the whole time.
That's why,
through
for
them,
the thrill of it. You
Yeah,
just want
yeah.
to feel that adrenaline pump with like, oh my god, what if there's something around here?
Yeah, it's more interesting. Okay, so on TikTok, there's this username. There's this one guy that's always posting like short clips of stories or like the haunting of Burger King, whatever, you know, like what
Yeah.
locations, and like he'll post like the camera and cut it into like 3 segments or 4 segments, and he'll narrate over it. And some of them are pretty interesting, but I've always been doing this for like the longest, and I always fall into like there's 2 YouTubers that do like top 10 scariest videos and top whatever, and they have the stupidest titles. They're always like 10 videos you shouldn't watch after 10 p.m. Like 10.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 10 videos.
And you're like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah,
Clicks
nah.
on it.
10 videos that will give you nightmares. But one of them is Sir Spooks. He's pretty good. But the other one is like legendary. He's been doing it for like 6, 7, 8 years. Consistently, every week he puts out like 3 videos. Mm-hmm. And so the story is, it's become a meme now. But the story with this guy is, he has 2 channels. One of them is called Top 15s with an S at the end. And the other one's called Chills. And he uploads to both of them. And he's a narrator in both of them. But what ended up happening with him is that he would make videos, right? And at the beginning, he wanted them because you had to make a video that was 10 minutes long to maximize the amount of ad revenue on it, to put the most amount of ads into it and so forth. But so he would film a video in a really monotone voice and realize that the video was only like 8 minutes long or like 7 minutes long. So he would go into this editing tool and like stretch the video.
Oh my god.
And he has a very monotone and like very peculiar voice. And so he ends up with the most ridiculous narrations of the not scariest, but the goofiest horror videos. He's like, top 15, The Haunting of Annabelle.
I feel like I've watched videos like that before.
I was just about to ask you if he was one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, he's hilarious. And he always falls for like the stupidest like fake videos. He'll do like top 15 scariest monsters that came out of the sea on a Tuesday. Like yeah, that's like ridiculous. It's ridiculous stuff. And I love it. And I always fall back on that video. Oof, it's peaking. Okay. And I always fall back on those videos. Like after I've watched the scary ones on TikTok, like I'll go back. But
it's like the equivalent of watching a comedy after watching a scary movie.
Oh my god.
Staying in the genre.
Just to make you feel better.
Yeah, they're hilarious. I love that guy. But yeah, we should start hunting ghosts.
No, you don't even believe in ghosts. We had we touched on it a little bit about whenever we thought we heard something at your house. And it was just like the phone and how you rationalize. You try to find an actual reason for anything that's peculiar that happened.
Did that episode go out? Did it?
Did it go out?
Is it one of the ones? Whatever.
Because I think I was listening to it while I was cooking.
Okay. Yeah.
I listened to my own stuff. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't believe in ghosts, like, whatsoever. Like, it would take a lot for me to like actually like, oh yeah, I'm one of those knowing people that like I gotta see it because it's too much to devote fear like into something that like I'm like barely rationally like think this could happen, you know, or this
but not
water tank
everything
could fall.
is so tangible. Not everything is just your 5 senses. And I don't know, like that's the whole 6th sense thing. Like when you have like the intuitive feeling that something's wrong or right or is going to happen, like that's not a tangible you can't even really describe like what that is, but you just feel it. Like there's
Yeah,
some
but
things you just
but
feel.
all the proof that we have of ghosts is like videos of like dudes walking out and like the things on top of their kitchen island like shake or whatever, like paranormal activity type stuff.
But that's like fiction.
You can't give me no, but you couldn't show me like a ghost capture video that you believe in, like.
But this is a man-made instrument meant to capture things we can see. You know, like we're using like a fucking rock to try to take a picture of like something that's transcending. We don't even know what a spirit is.
Oh,
you know?
by rock
like,
you mean like the simplicity
the camera is like
of
so simple. Yeah. Like you can't expect our what we consider modern instruments and technology to capture something that's like outside of our field of vision, you could say, you know?
The ghost of the founder of Nikon is like rolling in his grave right now because you just insulted the entire complexity of his cameras.
Nikon, of the camera?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like we're trying to measure like spirits and ghosts and shit with something we made to capture something completely different, you know?
There's haunted cameras. Have you seen Paranormal Activity
No.
5 or 7?
It's not haunted. It's like infrared or like the ones that see at
No.
night.
No, they had a... So this is why I like ghost stuff, because the imagination can only go so far. And it gets really stupid really quickly. Like in one of the movies, I don't know which one it is. There's like 8 of them. The plot is that they found this one camera in like some house that like some people died at, and the camera is like specifically that camera like can see what do you call them, like spirits. Like they have cameras all over the house, but they put that one like haunted camera like outside of their kids' door, and you can see like tendrils like. What's that one show? There was this one kids show where the ghost is Samurai Jack. You know the ghost, the devil in Samurai Jack. Yeah. See how he's like a wavy specter. Yeah. Like that's basically what's in that movie.
But you're comparing your beliefs and like the paranormal off of Paranormal Activity.
Oh yeah, I'm just shitting on paranormal. I mean, right now,
fucking parody of this world. Like that we're trying to talk about.
But I say it because, okay, have you heard of the show? What's it called? It's by BuzzFeed. It's is it called Supernatural by BuzzFeed? No.
I didn't even know they had like a supernatural type show.
Yeah, so BuzzFeed is one of those companies that like they started as like internet blogging kind of thing,
and now
then
it's like branched
out, and like they see like this one person has a popular show. So they're like, okay, join our company and whatever, you know. Like, yeah.
I mean, I watched some of their like branches, like what's it called, Ladylike, because it's a bunch of the girls in the company, like the popular ones, like doing all kinds of shit, and Pero Like, which is like the Hispanic side of it, and like reviewing foods or like just random shit, you know. Racist. But they had like their little niches of things they want to talk about, or the guys doing their own thing, or like them all as
like
a group.
the Triad guys, I think is what they call it, where they like
the Try guys,
$1 ramen versus $5 or $100.
I love them.
Yeah, so there's this one other channel, and I'll put the name of it right here. And it's this one guy named Ryan and this other guy named Shane, and Ryan is like a heavy like ghost believer and stuff like that, and Shane is a total like that's not real, like whatever, like you're trolling him, you know. And so they actually went out to like the Winchester Mansion, Rolling Hills Asylum, like all these places that are like the most haunted places in the world, and like they didn't find anything, you know. Like they'll find like you're walking around and you hear like a door slam behind you, right? But then they'll walk back, you know, and it's like a vent, you know, that's like slamming because obviously the building still has, you know, net systems that work, you know.
I don't know, but you can't base like a decision on that based on like one person or like one group of people. And also like it's such a small amount of people that even try to actually study the cause of stuff like that, or if ghosts even exist.
Well, if they study it, they get called immediately pseudoscientists.
Exactly. You know, so nobody really gives you enough resources or merit to even start looking at that, you know?
Have you heard of what's it called, Skinwalker Ranch?
I've heard the term Skinwalker. I don't know what that is.
So Skinwalker Ranch is this one place, and it's one of those examples where somebody did invest money into researching it and send professionals out there and, a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
But it's this one ranch where weird things get happening. Like, and it gets really dumb because, again, they saw like a giant spectral wolf or something that ate a cow, like a whole bunch of weird things.
Yeah.
Flashing lights like off in the horizon is this giant acreage of farms, and I don't name of the billionaire here. Like, I don't know the name of the guy, but this after the owners left, this guy who's like a millionaire bought the ranch and hired and formed a team of scientists to investigate it, and and they did some research into it and this camera didn't see anything, but the scientists did, and stuff like that, but they still didn't find anything that was any kind of proof of anything.
Right. But you're trying to have visual proof.
That's why I brought the Ouija board so we can summon the big man himself and ask him.
No. And ask?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're just gonna fucking walk up to him so what's up with ghosts? Is it real? If you summon the devil, everything is real. At
are
this
they
point.
real, bruh? Vibe check. Vibe check the
God. Stop playing. You're gonna. Oh my God. Something's gonna happen because you're making fun of it.
It's not Voldemort. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll
say his name. It's
no,
not like that.
All right. So in the movies, there was this one thing where every time they said his name, he had a curse. That was GPS that they found. If you notice, in every scene in the last movies when they're running away from him, where they're trying to hide from him, from Voldemort.
Oh.
You know how they were in one of the Weasleys' wedding or something, and then Harry. Well, I think Harry was talking to the sister of Dumbledore.
Oh, and he said the name, and then a few minutes later,
immediately they got attacked. Yeah. And then they ran away, and Hermione had that bag, the Mary Poppins bag with unlimited storage. It's okay, it's Harry Potter, whatever. They don't have guns, but they have whatever. They're sitting in an ice cream place, and they're talking about Huxley, and the second they say Dumbledore, his Death Eaters walk in, and that's how it happens. Yeah.
Really? I never noticed. Now I gotta rewatch the whole series.
Well, neither did they. The entire last two movies is them casually saying Dumbledore, and then boom, people show up. Yeah, stuff happens. But I mean, that's not how the devil works.
We don't know how the devil works.
We're
still debating on whether we
know where his name came from. All of it is, okay, that's my super deep rooted atheism coming out. But I don't know.
That's where we differ.
Let's go hunt ghosts. I'm down.
You can't hunt something you don't even believe is real.
Yeah, that's why they got to prove me wrong. The burden of evidence is on them.
Oh my God. Just call them out. This is a call. Just all of them. You're by yourself.
This warehouse. This warehouse was built on top of a cemetery, right?
Oh my God! This whole country was built on a cemetery.
All of the public schools that everybody went to. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true. No, if you think about it, all of America, all of the old world,
not even funny. The whole world is a cemetery at this point. How many people have died?
How many people have died in a Chili's? Everywhere. In the past 2 years. It's not even a competition of square footage per death. It's there should be ghosts all over the place. And that's why they're this battle site of the Civil War, you're haunted by the spirit of a man who lost his, but that dude was racist as fuck.
But we also don't know how that works. What ghosts even are. Not everybody, we don't even know if everybody that dies becomes a ghost.
You believe in okay, afterlife. Your conclusion based on your life experience. What is the afterlife?
I'm still debating. I think honestly, the older I get, the more I believe in. Well, first of all, yes, I am spiritual. I'm not atheist. I do believe in a God. I don't really trust the Bible because I think we've talked about it before. It's gone through so many changes, so many languages and mistranslations and all kinds of bullshit, basically. but my intuition and things that I've witnessed and seen tells
Is
me that like
there
something
would be an
there is
afterlife?
there is something greater, yeah. And because of that, there is somewhere our soul goes. Not necessarily like a heaven or a hell, but it doesn't disappear. I think it's more like a reincarnation type shit. Like you keep coming back to learn something as a being, not like as a me, Gabriella, but me as a like an entity type thing. Like I come back to learn something, and once I've learned it, I don't know what happens after that. It's just like our lifespan is just us to trying to learn a lesson. And then if we don't learn it, it's like, was vale, like go again, you until you learn your damn lesson. But then I don't know what happens. You go to heaven? Do you like go somewhere else? Are you like part of the fucking gods now? Like, I don't know, but
Have you ever seen the movie Hound Dog with Tim Allen before he said all that racist stuff like at a comedy bar?
No.
I think it's Tim Allen. There's this one movie where the character that I think is Tim Allen, subtitles name right here. He dies like in the beginning of the movie, and he turns into a dog. Oh my god, that's like a way back memory.
That sounds
okay.
familiar.
He
Doesn't
dies.
He turn into like his own family's dog or something.
I think
that?
so. Yeah. But he can transform back and forth.
Yeah. Damn, I thought I hallucinated that.
No. It's one of those like fever dreams. Like, oh my god, like did I just dream Tim Allen? As dog. Like maybe that's where that came from.
Oh.
But yeah, like I when I was little, I used to. Okay, I learned everything. Shaggy dog, and it was a shaggy dog. Yeah. He dies, and no, Tim Allen is the one from Santa, where there's the movie where Tim Allen kills Santa on his roof, and then Santa deflates,
and then he turns into Santa.
Yeah, and there's like a contract with like Rumpelstiltskin or whatever the fuck, that oh, now you're Santa, In this movie, he dies and he turns into a dog and goes back and forth. And then if dogs die, they turn into what was it? Like a squirrel. Like there's this like progression or whatever, That's why dog is man's best friend or, whatever.
That's so cute.
I mean, that's what I believe, So whenever I saw dogs, like for a small period, okay, I'm not Like first, I believe that. Oh, look, that's a dog. I wonder like where he was from. His past.
Where has he been?
I mean,
what have you learned?
I was young enough to not know that there were countries, so I'm like, oh, he must have been a guy from this town, or whatever, So, but there has my debate on it. Okay, I'm not an atheist. What would be the word for it? I think people call it.
Is it agnostic? No, is that what the word is?
It's like where
you believe in a higher being, but it's not like not involved in.
I believe that there's a soul, like there's a soul particle, like there is something that like it's not tangible, like there is a thing that when you die, like it comes out of you, like yeah. And so then
like
you're
the
just
energy or something like what powers us, kind of.
No, but because energy, you can surmise it down to like the movement of atoms, like. You can track energy down. You can track down what the soul particle is.
But we're also still discovering like different types of like atoms and like some there.
What you think? I know all that.
No, like gosh, I read somewhere recently that like they found an atom that like reacts a certain way if you're looking at it. Like it knows it's being watched, so it'll react in a different way than when you're not watching. Oh my god, we have to talk about this in a different episode. Dude, when I read up on it.
That just sends shivers down my. That's actually terrifying. Like what?
Yeah, like they're what's it called? Not sensitive. What's the word? When they're like they can use
sensory.
No. Oh my god, now it's gonna kill me. No! Like when something you think is an inanimate object starts sentient.
A sentient atom.
Yeah, like they start, I don't know what they are. Gosh, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna send it to you, and we're gonna fucking link it somewhere here.
We're not scientists like
No, at all.
whatsoever.
It's just tidbits of information. But yeah, like apparently they were watching or doing experiments on some kind of like atoms or electrons, and they were acting differently when they were being watched than when they weren't being watched. But then I was like, then how would you know what they're doing if you're not watching them? I don't know, but then it brings up a whole nother...
watched by people? Well, you know, like being watched by people, or like if you put a camera on them and they're...
Yeah, like stuff like that, like if they're being monitored.
Oh, that sounds too much like a cop-out for me, though. Like...
But you're not there, you know? Like, we don't even know the type of fucking science and, like, rationale that goes into shit like this. But it just shows how much we don't know. We think that, like, okay, atoms are the building blocks of life or whatever. But what makes up the atom? What, you know, like electrons, protons, neutrons. And what makes those up? And what makes them react in the way that they do. Like, there's science that can... There's some stuff that we don't even remember about, like...
That's true. I mean, the laws of nature... who was it? Newton's laws of physics or whatever?
And they're not even laws. They're theories. Like,
no, some of them are laws.
We call them laws, but they're
gravity is.
We know gravity is a thing that exists. Fact.
Inertia is a law. Like force, the equations for force are a law. Like we have that down. Like pretty sure.
But see, like nobody's ever said with 100% certainty that this is what it is. You know, it's like based on the evidence presented, it is likely that. Blank.
But my issue with applying a name to it without knowing and without having like any kind of credible evidence is that we're just filling in the facts. Like, how do you explain the beginning of, you know, the world without using the Big Bang? Oh, okay, you know, big man in the sky, you know, 7 days.
Right.
It takes a piece of mud and builds man. You know, like
no, but I feel like it all goes hand in hand. Like some kind of power of something caused a Big Bang, like caused all of this to be formed. You know, like something doesn't come out of nothing. You know, like there has to be a cause and an effect. Like it doesn't just spontaneously happen. It's always like a reaction.
I heard this theory on the Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where somebody asked him if a black hole, you know, can absorb, like if the sun turned into a black hole at its like current location, could it absorb the Earth? And his response was basically no. Like you know, something has to already be pulling towards a black hole. Like a black hole only has so much gravity, like the same gravity that the sun would have. But if something were to go to the black hole, then obviously the mass of the black hole would grow and its gravitational reach would be larger.
It'll get a little bit like wider and wider and expand.
And then that led to the question, theory, you know, it was just like it's nerds like, imagine what if this, you know, that you know, the universe is ever expanding, you know, and from what we can conclude right now, like the death of the universe is going to be a silent death. Like the universe is going to expand, you know, far enough, like we're going to get further from the sun's going to get further from another solar system, you know, galaxies are going to separate and expand, and you know,
but it won't be within our lifetimes or the lifetimes of our children or grandchildren. So it's like, whatever. Like, it's just a thing that'll happen in like 500 trillion years. So it's like, but we know it. Well, we think eventually that's what will happen.
That's what the math has told us. Yeah. But the math that we've only been studying for the past like 100 years.
It's such a young concept. I mean, compared to everything. And like, math has been around for a while. Like, but this type of extensive math, like, that calculates gravity and the universe and the expansion of galaxies, like that's a super young concept.
But it's been right 99% of the time. Like,
so far, based on their findings, which are minuscule because they're only looking at like a speck of dust out there in the fucking ocean of shit they have to look at, you know, and only in what we can see with the tools that we have made as man, you know.
No, not even then. We've expanded past that. We're able to look at things like through, you know, different like the only reason why we understand atoms is because we look at them through, what was it, like radioactive, like spectrosphere.
Right. But we don't understand them
spectral,
fully.
then throw in like another random word and then put ear at the end. And like, that's the item they use. Like,
Yeah.
it's way beyond my logic and your logic.
Right.
But
I'm just saying, like, nothing is known 100%. Not even our laws are known 100%. They just have been right up to this point, you know, like, or they're true for our reality here and like on Earth and on our like general vicinity. But that doesn't mean to say that it's like an encompassing theory of like, no, everything in the universe works this way because we found gravity here or
our
like whatever.
reality here. That's interesting.
What?
No, like you mean like our reality here, like in this like specific
Like moment and time and place.
yeah, this ant farm that we're living in, you know.
Yeah, and even that concept in itself is mind-blowing. The fact that like there might be parallel realities or multiple, like the multiverse type shit, and the fact that there's been documents released by the government that have literally been trying to look at the stuff too, you know, and stuff that has been redacted and then has been like put out for us to read, the stuff about like astral projection and like mind control and whatever.
Well, that's why I like the concept of, that's why I like, science concepts rather than, religious ones, because just the idea of infinity is like
but science was approached from a religious standpoint. Like they wanted to try to explain God's creation, so they tried to find ways like, well, why did God make this, why did God make that? Like religion came before science, like belief came before science,
and then religion beat the crap out of scientists until there were enough scientists that they couldn't beat the crap out of enough of them anymore.
No, but I'm saying like I feel like they both kind of go hand in hand. Like you can't really have science without like science, the spiritual stuff. Yeah, like it's not what we make it out to be, because as humans we try to separate everything. It's like you're either on this team or that team, but why can't it be both? Why can't it be a spiritual something that's guiding us towards something, but there's also like scientific and tangible things?
So where's
like, as proof, you know?
Where's our ghost then, if it's not just like a girl with long hair peeking out of a door and then like going really back in the camera like catching it?
It's like remnants, like almost like a shadow of energy. Like we're not really looking at a person acting or whatever. Like they're not reacting to us. They're just like, you're seeing their shadow still here, like something lingers. But they're not really acting towards you specifically. You just want to think that, oh, like they're addressing me. Like they don't even know you're there. They're living their own little, like you're seeing like a little glimpse into a reality that isn't really there, and it's why there's no proof, because you can't fucking see it.
So you're saying that
something
ghost
lingers
are basically just overlaps of different universes?
I think so. I really do think so. I don't even think it's a ghost per se, like somebody died and like now they're this thing. Like I don't even think it's a thing. It's just like an image we see.
There's a game that did that really well where you're what is it?
An echo. You know how you'll scream down a hallway and you'll hear like your voice will come back to you, but it's really, really quiet? I feel like that's what it is. It's kind of like an echo. Like it like barely registers and you can't really pick it up. Like if you try to record an echo.
Is that why all of our ghosts are like Victorian ghosts and not like like a dude that got tortured at a hospital like 200 years ago and stuff like that? Or
yeah, there's no ghost walking around saying it's Britney, bitch.
Yeah. I mean, people have died since Gangnam Style. Why haven't
Really though, it kind of goes back to like the time travel thing. Like it's not really like you travel through time, as they're all kind of happening at the same time in different like realities. I don't know.
Well,
there's such a hard way to. It's so hard to explain.
You know what we found pretty interesting? We watched this movie called The Discovery with Jason Segel, where basically these scientist people, they find a way to let people die, kill them basically, but record their consciousness into whatever it goes on to. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like you can see their last moments, and you can see kind of what it's almost like a screen, and on the TV you can see what they're seeing once they die, like what their consciousness is seeing, whatever. And you don't see very far, but you see certain like images. And oh my God, I don't even know how to explain that. And then people were thinking, oh shit, that's the afterlife, because this is a scientific discovery that was broadcasted to the world. And they're like, oh my God, that means our life does go on when we die. And so there was like mass suicides because people were trying to, this is like the whole concept. Oh my God, you have to watch this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There was, there were mass suicides because everybody was finally certain that there was something after this. So if they weren't satisfied with their care here, like they would kill themselves and go somewhere else. And so the scientists like became like a cult leader almost, and had these people that he was like saving and trying to keep from killing themselves, but he was still running these experiments. Like, what did the movie end up like?
It ended up being, if I'm remembering correctly,
Mulan 4.
It was like almost like a time travel thing, or like a parallel universe thing.
It wasn't an afterlife image. It was just what people
experienced
wanted to see.
Oh,
what you wanted your afterlife to be is what your consciousness went to, I believe. I'm not
like
sure
your
if that's
last
correct.
mode
So
of the defense mechanism, was just like protect yourself, just create a whole reality in your head. And like, how you dream.
Oh my God.
Yeah, how you dream, and it just feels like months and days and whatever. And you've been asleep for, even when you nap, it's like 30 minutes. So it's like, as your brain's last mode of defense, it creates comfort for you. And so you live out your life in the span of a millisecond, but it's like you're still living, your consciousness or your spirit or whatever you want to call it still believes it's living. And so it is.
Wait, but so what was the thing that they saw on the monitors whenever people would die? Like a flash of light, and that was it?
The only one that they showed in the movie, they may have shown one, but more than one, but the only one I remember was they had a dude on the table and he was hooked up to the monitor, right? And what they saw from his consciousness was when he was, basically the time frame was when the dude on the table had his first child, I believe, and he was walking into the hospital to go see his wife and daughter for the first time and all that stuff. And he walked into the hallway, he walked down, and he made a left, right? And so the main character dude, he was like, that's weird. Like, I didn't know there was a hallway there at that hospital. So he went to that hospital to like research, like, what did this guy see? And it turns out there was never really a hospital hallway there, something like that. I don't remember.
He created like
so
a second choice.
So it's basically like the dude saw what he wanted to see, and I think it ended up being like his wife ended up having, like, the baby was stillborn or some shit like that.
Is it? You said it's a show or a movie?
It's a movie. It's a movie. It's on Netflix.
Okay. But not anymore. I'm not sure.
But so in the movie itself, they see it like on a big screen, like
basically
POV.
It is POV, but it's not like a big screen. It's like, the shit you see ghosts on. It's like a shitty little 8-bit camera. You can't really tell exactly what you're seeing, but it's clear enough to where people were like, "That's the afterlife. Cool. I don't like it here. Boom, dead."
Yeah, yeah, and because you would see them see like a good version of something, but you would basically lay the person down on this machine and hook them up to a whole bunch of shit, and there was a little monitor, kind of like the that it monitors your heart rhythm and shit. You have that little like beep beep, kind of like a screen like that, about that big, but you could see like a really grainy picture of like what they were seeing. And you would basically stop their heart and like kill them to see what they would see when they were dead, and then you would bring them back, and that's how they discovered that. But people were like, oh, so there's something good after this, and they would just die to stay there.
But the people that got brought back, like, they don't remember being there. They just remember that, oh, this is what they're showing me.
No, yeah, they didn't remember. They didn't remember.
To them, it was just like, taking a nap.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't want to spoil the movie.
Yeah, no.
Well, because the end, that's not the ending of it. Like, that's not just
okay.
The end, but the end is really interesting. Like, it makes you think, like, what the fuck did I just watch?
But because there is like, there are like medical ways to kill yourself, like, for a moment,
Yeah.
And people have done it and come back and report nothing, like
they just feel nothing. It's just empty.
It's like,
which is even scarier than fucking creating your own reality. I'd rather I create my own reality in my head and make myself feel better. No, but
it's not like they're like they can feel themselves like being in an empty vacuum of nothing. No space, no stars, no nothing.
There's just
there's zero. They don't remember
about,
like anything.
Like bypass surgery and stuff like that. Where
I've
they,
seen
like,
I've
stop
seen
the
multiple
hearts and
people,
stuff?
yeah, like after
There's-
surgeries or something, when they say like
yeah.
you were dead on the table for this many minutes or this whatever, and they're like, yeah, and they're like, and usually the question is, well, what did you see or what did you feel? And they're like, nothing. Like there was nothing.
Yeah, like-
it was
Well, I mean,
just dark.
There's some people that do say they have experienced like some sort of afterlife existence. Some people say they met God or they saw.
But how many
another
of them
loved
are
one that
like
passed
mainly
on or
cloud
something.
chasing because they're one person in
yeah,
a
that's
million that's
No,
like
and how many
experiences
people are
everything.
also like when you're in that state, especially like in a hospital somewhere, like you're drugged up on all kinds of shit too. So like this is just giving your brain more fuel to create whatever in whatever fucked up way. So in your head, you did meet who you met or you did see whatever you saw. And since it's kind of like the dream where like time doesn't really matter, like you think you've been there for a while. Or kind of like the whole, you watched Inception, right?
Yeah.
Like that whole concept of like time doesn't matter and you kind of create your own like reality. I don't know. It's so hard to talk about because this is all stuff that isn't concrete.
Then again, like, I mean, we did talk about it on the last episode where we talked about ghosts, about how, like, yeah, our brains are pretty complicated and the chemicals within them that, you know, the 3 a.m. thing tends to happen where your brain is shifting chemicals. And as a result of that, you're seeing hallucinations, you know?
Right.
So it's gotta
But
be.
what makes
like,
something real? If you're experiencing it, it must be real, right?
No. Okay, deja vus. Like, for example.
But
you-
it's
you know
a
what
real concept. Isn't it like a lapse
it's a real
in
concept, but it's not like you truly had that memory in the past. Like, so if you experience a deja vu, it's a sign that, you know, something in your brain chemistry is messing up, man. So you gotta like change. You did something that you didn't get enough sleep, or you've been stressing out too much about something. But something in your brain is sending chemicals, or it's sending visuals or whatever to a region in your brain that stores memories, that processes memories. And so if I have a deja vu of me sitting, you know, looking at this goblet and like talking on it's not like I remembered this back, you know, 3 weeks ago. It's just that my brain sent this exact image to my memory collection area, and
there was like a misfire, and
yeah. Like it's crazy enough that it sends you for a loop, but it's such a simple thing that your brain just glitched.
I read somewhere that deja vu is just like a really mini seizure.
A minute, yeah. It's a thing that happens in your brain that messes it up, and it's like, oh, you know what? Okay, you remembered this, you know, out of nowhere, and you're like, wait a minute, no, I didn't. Like, there's no possible way that I could have been sitting holding this the first time I brought it into the office, you know?
What about people that like have premonitions? Not even in a bad way, but like people that'll dream something and then it'll happen a little while later. What is that?
Like The Simpsons.
Final destination.
No.
It's The
Okay,
Simpsons.
I'm asking because I think I've told you, me personally, like, but the minute you say like, you know, when I was younger, this happened, you're like, oh, well, you were little, you probably don't even remember it, right? You know, but like, I distinctly remember dreaming of this guy that had left our school, and this was back in Colombia. I must have been like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I like dreamt that we were having, it wasn't Halloween, it was Dia de los Niños, like Day of the Children, because we went to like a Catholic or Christian school, so you're not gonna celebrate the devil's holiday, but you know, but you're gonna celebrate Dia de los Niños, and you're gonna dress up your kids in nice family appropriate costumes, and you're gonna have yourself a little party.
It's funny that Halloween is the devil's holiday.
It's because it's a pagan thing. But anyways, so like this kid had left, I can't remember time span, maybe a couple weeks or a couple months before Dia de los Niños, and I distinctly dreamt him. He had come back to visit, and he was wearing like a light baby blue polo and khaki pants and some white tennis shoes. And he came, and everybody was saying hi to him. And like, that's just what I dreamt, right? And I was like, whatever, like, I'm probably like excited about Dia de los Niños, whatever. Like, it's just a random dream, didn't think nothing of it. And then Dia de los Niños comes around a couple weeks later. And who shows up but like the kid that had literally left school and like moved somewhere and came to visit in a baby blue polo and khaki pants and white tennis shoes. And the reason I remember was because I told him, I was like, I dreamt that you were coming. And he's like, estás loca? I'm like, nah. And like, people start bullying you and shit, and you remember that. So that's why I remember, because it made fun of me because I told him that I dreamt that he came, and he did come.
That's
and I was
dope.
Yeah, so I'm like, So what do you call that? What is that?
Superpowers.
It's called a glitch in the matrix.
Why don't I have it anymore?
Simulation.
Because they taught me I'm not supposed to have it.
No, they noticed that there was a glitch in the simulation. They're like, subject 15766678999, had just had a premonition. We need to fix that. Patch notes, 1.765.
No, I was talking to him
Point
to Andy about
Snapshot.
like the whole powers thing, and how when you're younger you seem to be more perceptive and be able to do things that you can't really do when you're older. Like,
well, a lot of that is nature. That's survival skills. It's like a kid. Like if you give them up, a kid will react differently. Like a baby will react differently to different people. And like they'll maybe cry with some people, or they'll like immediately cuddle up with like other people, like strangers, But it's really just survival. It's just kids reading your vibes and being like, I don't know this person, what the fuck,
No,
like,
but I'm not talking about, okay, yeah, like everybody has that ingrained intuition.
or you're
of
talking
something
about
feels
like
good or bad.
older,
like kids that'll say shit that they shouldn't know. Like kids that'll be like, oh yeah, like grandpa said this and this and this, and like he put his hat, whatever, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't even know your grandpa. Like you don't even know that he wore a cowboy hat and always put it on the nightstand. Like how the fuck would you know that? And the kid is like, yeah, okay, like I'm gonna go play now. Like it was not a big deal. like they don't even know like the fucking like.
yeah, like
importance
the
of what
stuff
they
that they
said.
shouldn't have known. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I mean, because that type of stuff, it doesn't happen like often, but frequently enough that like a lot of people talk about it. Like you just do a Google search on like kids talking about what we've deemed to be past lives. Like you see things, they're talking about past lives, or they're talking about they're perceiving ghosts or whatever, and they just seem to know things that they're too young to know. You've never mentioned anything. So how would they
time
know?
and space.
But like it can't just, so many glitches. It's not a glitch. It's a thing that is occurring like right under your nose, but
You're
don't
saying
understand.
so much of
yet.
it has happened that there has to be a system for it.
Exactly. Because everything has some kind of like cause and effect, and everything has its cycles. Like, I don't know. We could get so deep into this.
I mean, you down to
and
go?
everything is connected.
You down to go to an asylum? Let's piss off a ghost.
An asylum. They'll keep us there. They'll literally keep us there. They'll keep me there.
I mean, there's such a difference between like, oh, there's a ghost and we run away, but it's like at the end of the day, 10 years from then, you're going, oh yeah, we went ghost hunting once. Like nobody is like forever Trump. Well, who knows? I mean, this is a very new thing, and a lot of people just like, they do it when they're young and like impressionable, and they just go out like feeling like, oh, I don't know what God is, and let me go, see this ghost, and everybody's telling me there's a ghost, so I'm going in with the mentality of, oh, there's something haunted here, But in reality, it's just your brain filling in those, things just because.
But it's also
you find what you look for.
But as we get older, we develop the ability to shut off certain parts that we don't like. If you tell yourself you don't believe in ghosts, and like you're never gonna experience or see anything, because you've already told yourself like that's not true. So anything that seems slightly out of the norm, you're immediately like, it's like second nature. You're gonna be like, oh, that was this, like end of story. So your brain doesn't even if you came across something that was like not able to be explained, your brain is already like wired to explain it. So you don't even give yourself the chance, People call it like, oh, they're easily, close-minded, or they're easily or not even that, but like for people that are more open-minded, like, oh, they're just easily influenced, or what was the word you just used? Like they're impressionable.
Yeah.
But really they're just more open to experiencing things. That doesn't mean that they're like, oh, they're just little kids or whatever. Because I would like to think that I'm open-minded, but I'm not. What's it called?
Okay, we're both.
I'm not irrational.
We're both Latinos. You know about La Llorona.
Yeah.
Was that a thing in Colombia as well?
Yeah, but that's a thing like all over like Latin America.
Yeah, that's a thing all over Latin America. And without like a shadow of a doubt, like any Latino that is hanging out late at night and they hear like a whimper like that, like
They fucking run.
yeah, like even if it's the sturdiest person alive, like yeah, I mean, I've had I've had the privilege to sit in on some conversations from like the older people from the ranch that I come
Yeah.
from, and like a lot of them have those kinds of stories, but you know, like at the same time, you got to figure like how much of it is true, how much of it is it like, you know, just a story, you know, how much of it
Right.
is
That
something
too.
that they didn't.
Based on a true story, though.
What, La Llorona?
La
La
Llorona?
Llorona.
Yeah, based on some
based
lady
on
that-
a true story that happened in Seguin, Texas, right outside of San Antonio.
But that's what they say here. But in Colombia, it's the
You'll
same
have your own
gist.
La
Yeah,
Llorona.
it's the same gist of like a mother that drowned her kids and then felt bad about it or something and was looking for them. But everybody has that thing of like a mother drowned her kids or killed her kids.
Okay,
Yeah,
Now
well,
she looks for kids.
Well, we actually have a creek named after her. Okay.
But I mean,
Where?
If you drive on I-10 out to San Antonio, if you leave San Antonio going towards Houston,
Oh, here in the U.S.,
in Texas, yeah, in Seguin.
Americans.
but so
taking
many
over
mothers
all
have killed their
national-
children. Like it's not a Seguin thing. It's not like it's almost like a global like just knowledge that some mothers postpartum is a thing and like depression is a thing and they get distraught and they kill their children, you know. So now and it became such a horrible thing in society because it is. I mean, I'm not saying it's not, but they're like it's such a bad thing that it has to have a lesson. It has to have a something. So like that story just gets passed on, and that's why everybody like maybe not. I don't know if the Llorona is like a worldwide thing, but it's definitely like an American thing, like North and South, where you
but
hear that story.
But I think that's because it's got to be one of those things like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, where you tell your kids, you know, it's a lesson for kids, you know, not to lie, not to, you know, misbehave, not to go out at night, you know.
Yeah.
It's also you know, everybody's hearing Las Lloronas. Okay, all right, let's put somebody out there and haunt the people, so everybody stays inside, and let's steal their cows. You know, it's like there's a million ways that a lot. No, that's a legitimate
the
thing
whole
that happens.
yeah.
Like
No, I know.
people
This thing's funny.
scare the town so that they can take advantage of everybody being indoors. You know, it's. But it has to be rooted in something again. Like
Yeah.
I'll be willing to admit that, and I'm sure that if I were like chilling outdoors and I heard a ooh, you know, I would, you know, go inside.
Hey, you wanted visual
No,
proof?
but you don't.
like,
Yeah, you don't
dale.
believe in ghosts. Why would you go inside?
Because I'm
It's the
Latino. I
wind
gotta
howling.
like it's a rule, okay?
No, because fear is like ingrained in us. Like
Yeah.
just as like animals.
It's one of those
It's
primal
like, oh my,
things
yeah,
that
like if
never
my
left.
life is threatened or something like dangerous coming, and you'll feel it too. Like I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that, and you'll get scared just on instinct. Like even if you
Yeah.
don't know what it is, or like why loud noises scare you because you're like, oh shit, like
Well, that one's
sounds big.
survival. That one's
Yeah,
survival.
it's survival.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying the whole thing goes back to survival. Like you think your life is in danger, so like you immediately like you just want to leave.
Have you heard of that thing of the uncanny valley? You know how like in some movies, like if the actor has passed away, they'll recreate them in CGI like to the fullest extent. But you can always tell that it's not, you know, so we have a name for it. It's called the uncanny valley, where that person absolutely exists. That, okay, Star Wars, which one was it?
One of the newer ones.
Rogue One, where there, I'll give two examples. Rogue One, General Tarkin, is this one general from the first movies back in the 70s that he was at the Death Star. And obviously he was an older man back then. He was an older actor whenever they filmed it.
Yeah.
He passed away. And so to recreate Rogue One, which, you know, some scenes take place in Imperial fleet, they made a digital version of him and put him in. And you can like, you shouldn't be able to tell that he's fake, but your brain tells you that's not right. That's not right. Like that's not a person. Don't
Because you can't detect the soul.
No, it's not that. I mean, it's on
But
camera.
you don't know. But
No,
you don't
like
know what it
what I'm
is.
saying is that your brain tells you, "Hey, alert, alert! This is an imposter. Like this isn't.
Yeah.
This isn't man. This is very resembling to man, but it's just not right. You
Yeah.
know." Another example is with the Irishman, the movie with De Niro and what's their name?
I don't watch movies like that.
It's a mob movie.
know.
It's a mob
Okay.
movie. They created CGI younger versions of Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. They're both like older now, and they had to create a version of them that look younger.
Yeah.
But whenever you look at the movie, like obviously their their CGI younger version is real, but I mean it looks real as you could get. But your brain tells you like that's not right, that's not it. And so somebody online, just made the offhand comment of our brain has like a system to detect, this one thing that it's trying to be us, but it's not.
Yeah.
And that's a remnant of something that in our past has tried to pass off as human.
That sounds like a skinwalker.
Well, there is that version in Native American like cultures.
Something that imitates being something else, and it tries to draw you, like it'll be like help or whatever, and it'll be like in desolate places or when you're by yourself, and you'll hear it say help, or you'll hear somebody screaming.
Are you talking about that horse video? The guy who's in a horse? Yeah. And as soon as he said help, like I saw that one, I was like, oh.
Just coming in from planting those trail cameras. There's vultures everywhere. It's odd.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
I know
it
that
draws
one.
you, and they're like, if you hear something calling at you like that, like you're not supposed to go, and you kind of, it's almost like you can detect the difference between somebody that needs help and something that just feels wrong, like what you said, like that's not, they're trying to be something they're not. Like I don't want to go there.
And so the idea was like, why is that in our like brain chemistry? What did we encounter like back in like our caveman days that was trying to be us?
And are they still around?
That, I mean, did they get it right?
1 in 3 people is an imposter.
Something
and there's
that's
3 of us in here.
Still lingering.
Not it. So it's you. You were very quick.
There's also
making me nervous.
Well, there's also that thing about pale skin, like about the woods,
like
why are the woods scary, like it's like what was hunting us in the woods that
and all of that comes from something, like even vampires and skinwalkers and all these monsters that look like human but weren't, or were like a threat to us. That comes from something, you know.
With vampires, it's a combination of 2 things, and vampires are my favorite. Whenever I think of like, what started this, like vampires are some of my favorite because
isn't it cannibalism or something like back in the day?
Well, part of it, you got to remember that vampires are from an era where people are like killing each other with swords. People,
yeah, it's
touched on a little bit by Bloodborne, but the game Bloodborne, which whatever, there's a sickness that comes with blood. Let's do an episode on blood because there's a million ways to go from there. Vampires we have the Count Dracula, which comes from that one. What was it like? Friends. Some guy that used to impale Vlad the Impaler. Mm-hmm. That's the original Count Dracula. All the stories originate from him. But prior to that, there is the idea of something that like it drank our blood. Like the concept of blood, even in the Bible, like. You can eat anything, just don't imbibe in the life force, the blood. Like,
and the only one you can drink is like the blood of Christ because, I don't know, it cleanses you or something.
I really like Bloodborne.
We're so far into it now. After we bought the key, oh my God.
Y'all have been making progression. I'm excited.
So much
progression. But I think right now...
Let's talk about it after the podcast because, we're going to do a whole segment on Bloodborne.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's so exciting. I've been dreaming about it. Like but it's scary. Like dreaming about Bloodborne is so scary. Or like we'll play the game for so long that like the end of the day comes and it's like time to go to bed and you're still like trying to like looking over your shoulder and you're like, what is that? Oh wait, that's my jacket. Or like you'll hear something
You're laying in bed almost going to sleep and you dodge.
Yeah.
No, I've had that. I've had that. when you play too much Bloodborne in a day, like when you play too much of a video game. Did you spill?
Just a little bit. It's fine.
Okay, cool.
Not on the new jeans.
On the new jeans, as always.
Come on now.
No, I haven't had nightmares that much like in the past couple of years. And I remember that was like a very impactful, like even like stupid nightmares. Like I remember back when I was little in our house, everybody slept in the same room. I was in a bunk bed. I was in the top bunk. And why do I remember being so scared of walruses that could like walk up the wall? I mean, no, walruses that...
That's why it's called a walrus.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. No, legitimately, this is my fear. We used to have my dad built us like a medieval style chest for our toys out of wood.
Yeah.
And there was a walrus sitting on top of it. And like, I was at the top bunk, you know, and like I was small, so I couldn't see below me, but I could see like a flipper like start to like, and then those kinds of nightmares stayed with me like forever. Like, you ever have the same dream? Like,
have you ever been to the zoo?
or dreams taking place in the same location, like sequels of dreams, like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't get in touch with them anymore. Like I've lost them. So like,
Because you become too rational. It's part of that ingrained, like, oh, that's not real.
I'll kill myself and come back to see if there's an afterlife, and then I'll actually kill myself. So
Oh my God.
God damn. Hey, you know what? Then you and I get a Ouija board, and then we contact
summon me.
him, and he
Boom!
No, but it's just a
everybody's
shadow.
fulfilled. What do you mean?
It'll just be your shadow. We're not really talking to you.
We need a catchphrase to test if it's really me. How
How
good?
about your favorite high school words?
Ask me
Bia,
how.
bia.
No, his favorite middle school word.
Don't go there.
Inside joke.
All right, that's enough of that. Bye.
Bye.